The Tennis Gambling Podcast on the Sports Game Podcast Network is brought to you by Arctic Fantasy. Get up to $1,000 deposit match when you sign up at Arctic Fantasy with the promo code SGPN. And welcome, everybody, to the Tennis Game Podcast here on the Sports Game Podcast Network. It is currently Saturday evening, June 28th, around 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm also Scott Reichel, once again going solo for this pod. Time to get into the preview of the men's Wimbledon. We're going to break down the women's Wimbledon tomorrow, but it's going to be the first of two preview episodes for the third Grand Slam of the calendar season. Should be a fun episode. I do think the outrights for the women's episode will be a bit more exciting. Spoiler, because the men's side has been pretty straightforward, I'll put it that way, over the last couple of years. But either way, point, it should be fun. Looking forward to breaking down the third Grand Slam of the year. Before getting to that, though, a reminder that you can help support the show by subscribing to YouTube. And a reminder that the show is also available on Spotify or Apple. So check out the podcast either on live stream format, YouTube video format afterwards, or check it out the edited version on Spotify or Apple. So once again, no matter how you actually consume the podcast, please leave some feedback, leave a like, subscribe on YouTube, leave a rating and a review on Spotify or Apple. Plus, a reminder, check out the merch store on the SGPN website. We have a lot of great merchandise. For example, we have some tennis stuff. We have the Tennis Gambling Podcast shirts, different colors, very affordable. Recommend getting yourself one if you check out the merch store. Plus, a reminder, we do have a great contest going on right now for NASCAR because the in-season tournament is happening right now, and we're doing a free contest because of it. Head over to sportsgamepodcast.com/NASCAR contest for a chance to win a $200 gift card, and make sure to subscribe to the NASCAR Gambling Podcast. Before we get into the actual breakdown of the quarters and the outrights for Wimbledon, time to recap what happened in the last episode for the championship matches in both Mallorca and in Eastbourne. For the lock and dog, a decent episode for us. We ended up winning the lock, lost the dog. For the lock, nice winner as we had Griekspoor minus 1.5 games at minus 140. Bit of a sweat for each set. Griekspoor seemed like he was running out of gas at the end of the second set, but luckily he won the breaker as he did win in straight sets. Nice win there, and we'll mention an outright we won in a second. Did lose the dog, though, with Brooksby plus 3.5 at plus 105. Looked very good early. Brooksby was actually up a break in the first set. Then he fell apart. Really no way around it. You're looking at Brooksby, who actually ended up leading in the first set, as he ended up leading 3-2. He also was tied 5-5 in the first set, and then he proceeded to get destroyed. He ended up losing 8 of the last 9 games in the entire match. So he had some breakpoint chances in the 1-1 return game, didn't get them, and then fell apart as he lost the last 5 games of the match. So either way, point is Fritz took over, won his 4th Eastbourne title. So congrats to Fritz for winning again, and Griekspoor for winning another grass title, his first since Den Bosch a couple years ago. And congrats to us, because we did take Griekspoor to win Mallorca at 9-1. So in addition to cashing the actual lock, did cash the outright at 9-1. So it feels pretty good. Nice to get a nicely priced outright before Wimbledon. So we'll see what happens moving forward. But nice to get back on track a bit in the grass season. Struggled a bit early on, but was able to kind of get my groove going late as we ended up winning the outright there at 9-1. Fun matchup. Came down to the wire. Griekspoor and Moutet had a couple of very competitive service games, but not many breaks in the entire match. In fact, there was only one break in the entire match. Moutet did go over on his 4 breakpoint chances. Griekspoor converted at the end of the first set. But either way, so a nice 7-5, 7-6 final. Looked like the final in Eastbourne was going to be as competitive as it was also a 7-5 in the first set. But Brooksby fell apart as Fritz did win in straight sets. For the women's side, you saw Swiatek lose in the final to Pegula. Still has never won a grass title, and Pegula was able to win a close straight set matchup there. And then you had the match of the entire week, probably, between Ila and between Joint. And Joint was able to win 7-6 in the final set with a 12-10 tiebreak. It was absolutely chaotic. You saw each player have multiple match points. You saw Ila have a match point at the 6-5 spot, the 8-7 spot, the 9-8 spot, and the 10-9 spot. So 4 match points did not convert. As for Joint, though, she had 2 match points and converted the second match point. Either way, an incredible match that came down to the wire. Yes, the serving was not very good. Doesn't really matter. Point is, you had a lot of drama. You had both players going for their first titles, I believe, or at least Joint was on grass. That would have been Ila's first ever WTA title. But either way, point is, Ila fell a bit short. Couple of match points. A heartbreaker for her, but a really, really good match. And you ended up seeing Joint get the job done there in a marathon third set tiebreak. Anyway, Point is, a nice outright win for us, a nice lock win. Try to keep rolling for Wimbledon. It should be a pretty entertaining tournament. Now, looking at the actual news, did see some Wimbledon news as Hurkacz did drop out of the event. So he was still injured, decided he couldn't go on. We knew that he had a back issue, which we saw in one of the tune-up events for Wimbledon. And he got hurt immediately, ended up beating, I believe it was a Goot in straight sets, but he could barely move in the final game and decided, I can't play. And now he's going to be out again. So a bit of a heartbreaker there. Made the final in Geneva. Should have beaten Djokovic, choked away the third set. Then he showed up for grass season, played basically 2 sets, and he got injured in the second one, and then had to, unfortunately, punt the rest of the grass season. Unfortunate for him, but Hurkacz will not be here for the actual event. So something to keep in mind. Besides that, thinking if there's anything else we're talking about for tennis news over the last day or so, I don't remember much that actually happened. I don't really see much. This might be the last Wimbledon that Joker is for, so there is a chance he does end up retiring at the end of the year. Said the same thing about the actual French Open. So Joker's retirement might be closer than you might think, at least according to some reports. We'll see if he ends up, I'd say, keeping that promise or deciding to play one more. But this might be his second to last Grand Slam ever, which would be kind of upsetting, but understandable because Joker said he would retire in the near future. And Sinner did end up getting rid of his trainer and his physio, so we'll see what happens moving forward. Not really much else to add there. I don't really have any intel about the new guys he's going to hire, etc. But Sinner did get rid of his trainer and his physio, so we'll see how that looks moving forward. Still, of course, one of the favorites to win Wimbledon, so we'll see what happens, but I did want to mention that. Sinner did cause a bit of a coaching change there, as he did fire his trainer and his physio. Anyway, time to move on into the actual breakdown of the matches here, or I should say the preview of the events for Wimbledon on the men's side. We'll do the women's side tomorrow. Starting off, though, with the actual quarters. Yes, we do have quarter odds. Looking forward to it. For Wimbledon, got to mention the outrights. So you have Alcaraz, who beat Djokovic in back-to-back years. He won in straight sets easily last year, the 5-set marathon 2 years ago. Djokovic did beat Kyrgios 3 years ago, and Joker beat Berrettini 4 years ago. So once again, it's been pretty top-heavy. Alcaraz winning 2 straight, Joker winning, I believe it was 4 straight, I just cut it off. But either way, point is you have seen a lot of really chalky outcomes in Wimbledon. And to go even further for the chalkiness of the event. So I actually looked it up. If you take into account Alcaraz, the big 3 of Joker, Federer, and Nadal, and you throw in Murray, those 5 guys, Alcaraz, Djokovic, Federer, Nadal, and Murray. And I asked you, who's the last player and what year was it where they won Wimbledon and it was not one of those 5 guys? What would you tell me? Who was it? What year was it? Quick trivia question. A guy not named Alcaraz, Djokovic, Federer, Nadal, or Murray. The last guy to win Wimbledon, and what year was that in? Just to sum up how chalky the event has been for a while. If you ended up guessing Leighton Hewitt in 2002, you'd be correct. It has been roughly 23 years since somebody not in the big 3 or Murray or Alcaraz has won Wimbledon. This has been an absolute chalk fest for the last 20 plus years of the event. In other words, I don't have many long shots winning the event. Apologies there, but based on the actual history of the event, no, it was not Ivan Isavic, who is Tsitsipas's coach now. He did win Wimbledon. That was in the 90s, I believe. But it was actually Leighton Hewitt in 2002. So once again, we are about 20, and even like Hewitt was a top 3 player in the world. It has been a long time since somebody not in the elite status has actually won Wimbledon. So I'm expecting chalk in the actual event. That's kind of what I'm looking at for this one. But either way, for this year, Alcaraz going for a 3-peat in Wimbledon. We saw him win London a week or 2 ago, so he's in good form. He won the French Open. He's been in great form. We'll see if he can keep rolling here in Wimbledon. Now, for the actual quarters here, first quarter is going to be the Sinner quarter. And of course, he's a massive favorite, minus 400, but chop around. You have Shelton at 11-1. You have Musetti at 11-1. You have Paul at 16-1. Humbert at 20-1. Dimitrov, who is allegedly healthy, we'll see, at 25-1. You have Shapo 28-1, Nakashima 28-1, Medjedovic 50-1, Mutet, fresh off the final in Mallorca at 50-1. Opelka's at 50-1 as well. Monfils, 65-1. You kind of get the point. So, looking at the quarter, the takeaway is pretty simple. Damn, this quarter sucks. That's the main takeaway. I feel like Sinner should run unopposed. If he did not drop a set in the entire lead up to the semis, I would not be surprised. But in reality, Sinner, I found minus 270. I've mentioned this before. I typically do not give out outrights that are about minus 170, minus 180 or higher. To be honest, though, if you want to throw Sinner at minus 270 in a parlay or something as a bankroll builder, go ahead. Because Sinner's going to dominate this damn quarter. You're looking at Shelton, who's been horrible on grass since joining the top 10, as he lost to Tien and Rinderknech in straight sets. Musetti has not really played much grass. I know that he was decent in Wimbledon last year, not really known as being a great grass player in his career. Had a good run last year, but still, Sinner should destroy him on grass. Paul, we saw lose to Evans, first match off injury. Sinner's going to kill him. Humbert, we saw lose to Brooksby. He wouldn't beat Sinner either. Dimitrov can't stay healthy. Sinner's going to destroy everybody in this quarter. I just think 270, even though I know I typically will stay away from massive minus prices. Put in a parlay as a bankroll builder. Who's going to beat this damn guy? Like in the past, we saw Medvedev beat him in 5 sets. He's not in the quarter either. There's nobody worth a damn in this entire quarter who can actually challenge him. And I know that Sinner is at his worst, arguably, on grass. We saw him make it to the French Open final and semis back-to-back years. You can argue that he's better on clay than grass now, but nobody's going to beat this damn guy. Like 270, if you want to argue, I saw 4-1 once again on DraftKings, so you can find much higher prices. I saw a minus 450 somewhere, but 270 for a parlay piece, I don't hate it. Sinner's going to dominate the quarter. Do I have anybody else in the quarter? Hell no. I don't have anybody else. Give me Sinner by himself. I'm not going to bet minus 270. But once again, Wimbledon, historically speaking, is a pretty well-known chalk fest. You might get a Cinderella run into the quarters. That's basically it. Norrie made the semis a couple years ago. Got killed by Djokovic in 4 sets. Like, nobody's going to be making serious noise, in my opinion, as a long shot in the Sinner quarter, unless he gets hurt. Give me Sinner, minus 270. I think he's running unopposed here. I got nobody else in the first quarter for that one. Moving on to the second quarter. This is the Djokovic quarter. Now, Joker is a favorite. He's about minus 110 in some spots. I see even money as well. Draper is at plus 250. Bublik is at 6-1. De Minaur, who's been really bad lately, is at 9-1. Mensik at 11-1. Mickelson is at 28-1 off the semifinal loss in Mallorca to Mutet. You have Monkic at 35-1. Cilic, who actually won a grass challenger a couple weeks ago, at 40-1. Caboli 40-1. Giron 65-1. You kind of get the point. So Joker, I said before, is of course a multiple-time champion in Wimbledon. He's the 2-time defending runner-up, so he has made deep runs in the past. For the actual draw, though, for Joker, it's not bad. Now, Draper, of course, is going to be the main British hope of guys that can make a potentially long run. However, the draw is not great. Baez is really bad on grass. He should win that one. He should beat Cilic, who I know has been playing better, still in challengers. I think that Draper would beat him. Bublik, though, in the third round, we saw Bublik beat him on clay in the French Open. Not a great matchup for Draper. I think that could go either way. The point is, though, you're looking at Draper and Bublik, who have to play each other somewhat quickly in about the third round of the event, or I should say the fourth round of the third round. They face off in the third round of the event, and then they'd have to face off against Djokovic after that. It's a really tough draw for both guys. I just think it's a situation where I would want to fade Draper and Bublik, because I see that being a coin flip, and if you have to beat, once again, each other, and then Joker right after it, I think the draw is pretty rough. As somebody mentioned before, that Draper's draw is pretty terrible, at least for him. That was mentioned by, pulling it up quickly, Enigma. I agree. I think Draper's draw is horrible for him, and I think that Bublik's draw is not great either. So based on that, I will ignore both guys. Joker, I think, has a pretty good draw in general. Does have Mueller in the first round, Evans or Clark. Evans, I believe, is 1-0 against him, but that was years ago. A Joker should beat him. His main guy in terms of opposition is Mickelson, who Joker would beat. It's a pretty favorable draw. De Minaur has not been good lately. Monkic is injured all the time. I think Joker's got to be the pick here at plus 105. Even if you don't think he wins the event, and I don't, I think that him to win the quarter is a pretty favorable draw with him getting Mickelson, with him getting a couple guys with injury issues, and with Bublik and Draper, the second and the third lowest prices to win the quarter, having to play each other first, and then Joker is not the draw you want for them. Give me Joker at plus 105. Once again, going chalky here. I got nobody else in the quarter. Didn't see much value. The other options would have been the favorites with Draper or Bublik. I would have considered Dimmenauer, but he's been in really bad form for the last couple of months, so I have to pass. Mensik, not great on grass. I thought his game would translate a bit better. He's working on it as a young player, but still not exactly as comfortable on grass as I think he should be with his serve and his forehand. And Mickelson just not good enough from a serve perspective. Joker would kill him. So give me Joker by himself at around plus 105 as my main choice and my only choice for the second quarter. Before we move on into the third quarter, going to remind everyone, once again, they're brought to you by MyBookie because they're available for in a ton of locations. Use crypto for all interest payouts and easy deposit sign up, though. You can also use it to bet on Wimbledon, bet on the MLB, bet on WNBA, bet on golf, football, etc. You can also use it when you want to bet on even casino stuff. They have a bunch of options for MyBookie, but a reminder, if you do want to actually sign up, use the code SGPN at sign up to get a 100% match up to 1K. Terms and conditions MyBookie.ag promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by Circa because they are still hosting their Ultimate Fansable contest for a chance for a 12-team league to drive to Vegas. We try VIPs for their stay. Get a home ride from the airport, a 5K tap from stadium, swim, and hotel stay for you and your 11 league mates. When you sign up, though, a reminder, you have to go to sportscampodcast.com/Circa to sign up. You can always get 15% off everything at Circa Properties with code SGP15. So once again, a reminder, sign up for the contest at sportscampodcast.com/Circa to enter the free fantasy football contest. Welcome back, everyone, to the Tennis Game Podcast. Went to the first two quarters in the event. Time to move on into the third quarter. This is the most open quarter by a wide margin in Wimbledon. This is the Zverev quarter. I know it sounds as ugly as it is, but I got to mention it. So Zverev's favored, allegedly, at plus 220. Medvedev is plus 350. Fritz is plus 450. The absolute head cases of all head cases wrapped up into one quarter. Berrettini is a 9-1, who's never healthy, but he is a former finalist, and we know that his serve can be dangerous on grass. Will he physically survive the entire way through the event? Probably not, but he's at 9-1. Khashanov's at 12-1. Diallo's at 18-1. You have Papiron at 18-1. You have Fekina at 18-1. Cerundolo, who's been really bad on grass, at 20-1. Moshizuki, 25-1. Perricard, 28-1, who plays against Fritz in the first round, actually. You have Thompson at 30-1. You kind of get the point. So for this quarter, this is definitely the most open opportunity to take a long shot if you were going to swing. Now, the problem is the guys outside the top three aren't that great when it comes to actually having faith in them to make a deep run. Khashanov's never really been that great on grass, and I think McDonald in the first round is actually not the easiest matchup for him. So I think that Khashanov could potentially lose early in this one based on his lack of comfortability on grass in his career. I do think you're looking at a spot where I think I have to go pretty chalky, but it is a good opportunity where if you find the right books and shop around, you can, in theory, bet the three favorites and try to get some profit out of it. Because I think Berrettini's price is insane. I don't trust his durability at this point. So him having success in Wimbledon years ago means nothing to me. I'll go with Berrettini, and I think that he should be a bigger price. So once again, I'll go with the option to toss him out. I don't see any value at all. That reminds me of like Nadal at the way end of his career, French Open arguably, against Zverev in the first round, where he has odds that are pretty short as one of the favorites to win the quarter. And you're looking over, thinking to yourself, what the hell are these odds? There's no value anywhere on this. That's Berrettini. There's no value at all on Berrettini. If you want to bet Berrettini, bet him in the first round, bet him on a match-by-match basis. But he could easily withdraw midway through the event. And if that happens, you lose. So based on that, I'm not taking Berrettini. I think those odds are way too low. He should be closer to like 20-something to 1, in my opinion. Khashanov I'm not interested in. Diallo can be interesting, but I don't like his actual draw. The thing is, I'll look at the favorites here. Zverev, we all know I can't stand. None of us can, because he constantly underachieves when we need him to perform well. However, the draw is not bad. Rinderknech had a decent run in the grass season. Zverev should beat him. Then you have Busta or a qualifier, should win that one. His main opposition, though, in that immediate section is Berrettini, who I don't think scares anybody based on current form. Then he has arguably Cerundolo or Kashanov, should win that one as well. So he avoids Fritz and Medvedev, which I do think is appealing until the potential quarterfinal matchup. So even though Zverev has never really been that great on grass, the draw really is not that bad, at least for Zverev, and I do think I am going to go pretty chalky for the quarter. I said before, shop around, find better pricing. I found Zverev at plus 310. Once again, DraftKings at 220. I found 310 on FanDuel. I'll take that. I think the price is pretty good for that draw. But of course, I have to acknowledge that Medvedev and Fritz both own Zverev's soul. And we saw that in Halle, and we saw that in another event previously, where you ended up seeing, I believe that was at Stuttgart, I believe, in the final. We saw Fritz and Medvedev each beat Zverev on grass about a week or two ago. So based on that, I cannot take Zverev alone, because one, I don't trust him. Two, Medvedev and Fritz, I think, would be favored over Zverev, in my opinion, based on the actual form of them against Zverev. They've been so good in the head-to-head lately. Give me Medvedev at around 4-1. I like the price. Yes, he's a head case. Yes, he is a guy who actually beat Sinner in Wimbledon, I believe it was a year or two ago. Point is, we know Medvedev can be dangerous in Grand Slams. He's good on grass in general. He can't beat Alcaraz, but nobody can. So give me Medvedev at plus 400 as well. I think the draw is fine for him, but Pyron could be tricky. I think the Medvedev would wear him down, and I do think that him and Fritz would be a fun matchup in the round of 16. But I am going to go with Fritz as well. I know that he just played a tournament in Eastbourne. He's never really been a big practice guy, so he's used to playing events right before Grand Slams, but he has been good on grass as well. He beat Zverev in a 5-set marathon last year. We know that he owns Zverev. We know that he can definitely showcase the serve and look sharp on the courts here, and I do think 550 is a good price. But it's mostly based on the guys who are not really worth a damn in the remainder of the quarter. Pericard's not the easiest matchup for Fritz, but he's not been good on grass. Pericard's been a mess, actually, on grass so far, and the one matchup that I remember him winning was Safulin, which was a war that he probably should have lost, but he was able to capitalize on the limited chances he had compared to Safulin. But reading off the results on grass, beat Safulin in a 3-set marathon, lost to Felix in straight sets, and then played Nakashima, and he lost in 3. That's it. That's the only grass resume he has right now. So he's not in good form at all. Fritz just won a title, and we saw him win 2 grass titles, actually, because he beat Zverev in the final in Germany a couple weeks ago. I think Fritz at 550 is, objectively speaking, a good price. Do I trust him? No. But I do think one of those 3 guys will win the quarter, so I am going to go with the odds. Give me the 3 favorites, which I think, once again, if one of them wins, you do make money. Zverev at 310, give me Medvedev at 550, and give me Fritz at 550. Sorry, Medvedev at 4-1. And Medvedev at 550. I believe Fritz was at Bet Rivers at 550, I think, which was an insane outlier price, which I'll take. But 310, 4-1, and 550. One of them wins, you're making profit. I like it. I'll go with that as my main choices for the third quarter. Moving on to the why even bother quarter, you have Alcaraz, who's minus 350, give or take, to win the quarter. I see 450 in some spots. You have Lehechka at 8-1, who actually gave Alcaraz a run for his money into the final in London before losing in 3. Rune at 14-1, Fonseca at 18-1, once again being drastically overpriced despite having no grass resume at all. Tsitsipas, who's been bad lately, at 25-1. Felix at 25-1. Griekspoor, fresh off the title, at 28-1. Rublev, 28-1. You have Tiafoe at 30-1. Fernley at 50-1, and that's basically it. So the question is, in this quarter, will anybody beat Alcaraz? No. I mean, there you go. I got nothing else to add. The draw for Alcaraz is pretty favorable. Fognini in the first matchup, then a qualifier in the second, then either Felix or potentially Misalic or Struff if Struff gets hot with the serve. Felix won't beat him. Alcaraz is too good. And I don't think Felix has looked that good on grass for the last couple of matches. Rublev doesn't scare me either. Tsitsipas definitely doesn't scare me. He can't beat Alcaraz to save his life. We've known that for his entire career. Alcaraz and Sinner have 2 very easy draws in the first and the fourth quarters. If you want to parlay the 2 of them for a future parlay, bankroll builder, I don't mind it. But Alcaraz 350, I can't bet this, but it also feels like a parlay piece where he should just be dominating everybody in this quarter. Once again, the second favorite, I said the Zverev quarter, had Medvedev and Fritz. Two fringe top 10, top 15 guys. Leheshka is the second favorite in the Alcaraz quarter. I mean, Alcaraz's quarter's a joke. Like, he's going to run through everybody here. He is a two-time defending champion. I don't see anybody beating Alcaraz. I'm not going to bother reading off any long shots. Those are all donations as far as I'm concerned. I'm going with Alcaraz by himself. I said before, it's going to be a pretty chalky episode. I got nothing else to add. I went with chalk in basically every quarter. Apologies, but I'm trying to make money, and unfortunately, I don't see any value on anybody else for the quarter. So once again, the picks for the quarters in the Wimbledon on the men's side, going to go with the first quarter, Sinner at minus 270. I'm not happy about it, but what do you want from me? Like, he should dominate the quarter. Second quarter, give me Djokovic at plus 105. Great draw. Bublik and Draper on the other side. Let them kill each other. Joker gets the scraps. Give me Joker to make the semis at plus 105. For the third quarter, this is where I branched out a bit by going chalk, but decently priced chalk. Zverev at plus 310. Give me Medvedev at 4-1, and give me Fritz at 550. So Zverev does end up winning. You make about a unit. Medvedev wins, you make a little bit more than that. Depends on how you break down the units. But point is, you can make an argument for all three guys. I'll take all three guys. Give me that in the third quarter. For the last quarter, can't bet this, but Alcaraz 350. If you want to parlay with Sinner, I'm not going to stop you. They both should make the semis. So that's kind of my thoughts there for the quarters. Moving on to the outrights. For the actual odds for the event, you have Alcaraz at plus 120. Sinner's at 2-1. You have Djokovic at 650. You have Draper at 18-1, Zverev at 30-1, Medvedev 40-1, Bublik 40-1. You have Fritz at 50-1, Leheshka 60-1, Mensik at 100-1. To be honest, I could have stopped 2 people ago, 5 people ago. You got my point. Like, nobody's going to really challenge Alcaraz or Sinner. You could argue the only guys that's worth a damn is Djokovic. Draper will not get there. Like, Draper's going to be a common long shot pick because of the fact that there's a home crowd advantage and because he's good on grass. I don't really care. His draw's not easy. Bublik, then Djokovic, then Sinner, then Alcaraz. Good luck with that for Draper. He's not winning. He's not going to win the event, so I'm not going to bother taking him. Djokovic, I don't think he has it in him anymore to beat Alcaraz or Sinner. On grass, maybe, because Sinner really does not look as comfortable on grass as people claim he is. But I think Joker is just not that guy anymore. Yes, he made the final back-to-back years. He beat Alcaraz in the Australian Open, so that counts for something. But in Wimbledon, Alcaraz owned him last year. There's really no point in mentioning Djokovic to win the event unless you get Alcaraz who ends up getting injured or something, and you get a pretty easy path for Joker that's unexpected. But in reality, would I take Joker to beat Sinner in the semis? No. Would I take him to beat Alcaraz if he beats Sinner? No. I'm not going to donate money betting on Djokovic, even though I love Djokovic. He's one of my favorite players of all time. I think he's done. I think he's a guy who's not going to win another Grand Slam. He gave it a great effort against Sinner in the French Open. But I think Sinner would beat him. I think Alcaraz would beat him. I can't take Joker for that reason. I took him to win the quarter. That's basically it. But I am going to go with chalk here. It's all chalk for me. Give me Alcaraz plus 120 and give me Sinner at 2-1. I have nothing else to add. We took it in the French Open. We took a sprinkle on Rude for no reason as a donation. Didn't matter. We had Sinner and Alcaraz. They both made the final. It was an all-time great match. Alcaraz did win. I got nothing else to add. It's all chalk. Apologies. If you want more long shots, check the women's episode coming out tomorrow. But damn, I'm not going to waste my money and my time making arguments for long shot guys like Medvedev at 40-1. I'm not going to waste my time. If you want to bet a long shot, good luck to you. I'm not going to do it. Because I think we all know deep down, and with the Wimbledon history, this has been a very chalky event for basically 2 straight decades. I'm not going to argue for a long shot. It's a waste of money. Give me the favorites here. Give me Alcaraz and Sinner as my only 2 choices to win the event. Time to move on into the actual matches for the first round in terms of the lock and dog. Before we get into that, though, reminder, they're brought to you by our sponsor, Arctic Fantasy, because they're doing Best Ball Mania, happening now all summer long, giving away $15 million in prizes, including $2 million for first place. No waiver wire, no arguments about trades. Best Ball is the best way to play fantasy football. Underdog is also a great place to play Pick'em. And a reminder, sign up for your new account with the code SGPN. And when you do so, claim a special pick and first time deposit offer up to $1K in bonus cash on fantasy promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm because they have a brand new feature called Power Trends where they are detecting the best plays for you. They use Rhythm's models and they can detect patterns to help you win. And a reminder, they are updated every day. Exclusive to Rhythm, no touts or noise, just clean dead back picks. I've been using it for a while actually with Adam on the MLB show. The profit has been insane on those. I've been taking them every day. They've been very good to me, so I definitely can attest to it. A lot of profit, courtesy of the, once again, actual Power Trends. So keep that in mind. I have been using them every day personally. They have been slapping. Very good. Anyway, a reminder, if you want to use it, download the app, check out Power Trends, start betting smarter, and also try it out for free for a week. But get the 7-day free trial, go to sportsgambling.com with them to get your 7-day free trial. Welcome back, everyone, to the Tennis Game Podcast. Finished going through the outrights in the men's Wimbledon. Time to move on into the lock and dog picks. Going to go with the parlay for both of them. Now, DraftKings went rogue on this price point, so I have to do it. I'm going to keep the theme of chalk, and I am going to go with Sinner and Alcaraz. Now, I did find most books had Sinner and Alcaraz each at about -$4 to win in straight sets. Now, I did find a better way to bet that because DraftKings has the exact amount of sets listed, 3, 4, 5, three-way market. The 3 sets on both of them are significantly cheaper than the actual set spread. Why? I have no idea. It's the same exact bet, basically. But either way, you can actually turn straight set wins for Sinner and Alcaraz into a very cheap price, which I like. Give me Sinner under 3.5 sets, parlayed with Alcaraz under 3.5 sets at -123 on DraftKings. Sinner is against Nardi. Nardi's not very good on grass, not very good in general. He's a pretty decent rallier, no firepower at all, not a great serve. Sinner's going to kill him, nothing else to add. Give me Sinner to dominate that one. Alcaraz, though, two-time defending champion, won London right before Wimbledon, and Fognini is well past his prime. He's about to retire. He's mostly in challengers and occasionally doubles at this point, but Alcaraz is going to dominate. One of the final events Fognini's going to be in. He's probably going to retire at the end of the year. He can't move that well. Alcaraz should beat him. I do think that it's a good way of getting 2 easy favorites, -5,000 favorites, etc., at a much cheaper number. Give me Sinner under 3.5 sets with Alcaraz under 3.5 sets. Pure chalk at -123 on DraftKings. A very rogue line. I would take that now before it moves. For the dog, they're going to go with a parlay. Going to take Shevchenko and Opelka over 40.5 games. Parlay with Evans' money line against Clark at +118. So Evans is about -500. I just wanted to get this total at a plus money price. Opelka, we know, is a great option for overs because he's a terrible returner and a great server, tiebreak magnet, and we've seen him go to at least one tiebreak in 7 of his last 9 matches. Shevchenko, not really a great grass player, but you know what? Opelka, it really isn't either. And the fact is Opelka is a -330 favorite, but Shevchenko's -275 to win a set. So you're probably looking at 4, maybe 5. 5, this cashes easily. 4, if you get a breaker in there, which is a massive minus price as well, you're in great shape because a 7-6 gives you some opportunities for some 6-4s and 6-3s. Because if you end up getting, for example, 13 games in a set, and you end up getting 6-4s in the other 3 sets, that's still 43. So you're looking at a couple of sets that can be competitive, that can go to a breaker, and I think that should definitely benefit the over if it goes to 4 sets. If it does not in straight sets, I do think this match basically is guaranteed to go over. So I'll take the over as part of the parlay. Evans, though, I think is basically a free square. We saw him beat Paul and Kecmanovic on grass last week. He looked good as a whole. Clark, though, has been really bad. He's only here because he's actually a home country guy. But he's been horrible. He's lost 5 straight matches. He lost every match on grass. I think that Evans should beat him. And I do think it's a pretty fair way to approach a total, trying to get extra value on it. But Clark has been a lost cause lately. Evans has the slice. The forehand's been better lately, and it seems like he's regained his form. Give me Evans' money line to close out the dog. So once again, the plays here for the lock and dog. The lock's going to be on Sinner, under 3.5 sets, and Alcaraz under 3.5 sets at -123. For the dog, I'm going to go with Shevchenko and Opelka over 40.5 games with the Evans money line at +118. We'll back once again for the women's preview of Wimbledon on Sunday. And a reminder, we'll be back for every round of the men's tournament, so we'll be back for the second round of Wimbledon in a couple days. Either way, until next time, I'm on Twitter Radio. Good luck to all of you and all of your bets. Bye, everyone.